Welcome to Upper Room Studios. This is the Road Home Podcast.
Welcome back to the Road Home Podcast. After a short leave of absence and
a one voiceover later.
a cruise, a 40-day cruise.
We've all started a diet.
Yeah.
40 days and 40 nights. Yeah. Well, it's been good. We went to
if you don't know what we're talking about, go back. Our last episode, we went to the Ark.
Yeah.
It was fun. It really was. But we're back here to talk about other things.
What important topic is on the agenda for today?
Well, I felt that we probably, with all the news headlines that's going on right now, and all the discussions and words that's getting thrown around, I felt that we should talk about socialism and come at it from a perspective of a Christian, of course, with a biblical mindset. So, being somewhat of a student of history, if you go back and you look at the history of the way certain governments are set up, or just, politics in general, different countries around the world, societies, economics, everybody has at some point had a relationship with socialism, or has come really close to brushing up against socialism. You can even go back into the early days of America, our founding, and you can find out that, like, Jamestown and others tried to implement such a system as socialism, a type of socialistic system of economics, but it crashed and burned really quick. And this is not a thing that we should toy around with, because it really does go to a very violent and dangerous place quick. We read the Word of God, which is the basis for everything that we do. And we're told in the New Testament that we're to owe no man anything but to love him.
Right.
So I don't owe you anything but to love you. We read aloud about, money is in the Bible more than the subject of hell, actually, if you want to get into it.
Yeah.
Money's talked about more than hell and heaven. Money is. Even the parables that Jesus told, there's a parable of the talents, which is money.
Right.
There's a parable of the vineyard, where he goes out and he says, hire me some laborers for the vineyard, and they all get paid the same amount of money, even though they didn't work the same amount of hours, but that was at that vineyard owner's discretion. And there's a whole thing, and there's the whole idea, even the prodigal son, who...
It was all based around money.
All based
he wanted
around money.
His inheritance.
The lost coin.
It was his money, and he wanted it.
He wanted his money now. Right. It's just like J.G. Whitworth.
I want it now.
J.G. Whitworth. Okay, never mind.
7 cash.
Copyright.
Copyright, okay. So, just like that, he wanted his money now. He goes, he spends it all on riotous living.
Yeah.
And then that country...
Well, Jesus, he was basically hung on the cross because of money. Because Judas went and sold him.
Yeah, there was even money
was a connection
exchanged there. Yeah.
Which, yes, it goes into a lot deeper.
Exactly. But true.
Yeah.
We're trying to make the point. Money is through the Bible.
Right.
And that's what the idea of socialism is all around our economics, our structure, our business structures, and everything. You read the book of Proverbs, and you'll learn how to use money. You'll learn how not to use money. You'll learn, if you actually apply what this Bible says, you'll find yourself doing pretty good.
Yeah.
We're told, based upon Scripture, we set aside 10% of our income, and that's in modern times, we use that to furnish the house of the Lord, make sure the electric bills are paid, or all that stuff. So that's a sort of...
Make sure there's toilet paper in the bathroom.
Exactly, all that good stuff. Yeah. And so that's good, but that still is not socialism. And there's charity. We love giving to charity. We love helping people. Our church has helped many people. We've done a lot of stuff for people. We've bought things for people. We've given people food. You do things like that. Not patting ourselves on the back or anything, but I'm just saying that's what
That's what the church is there.
The church does. Right. Still, that is not socialism. We want to go to the 21st century's most modern source of information and find out what Dr. Google says socialism is. So go ahead, Billy. Tell me what the first, let's just go with the first Google search result for what socialism is, the definition of socialism.
It's an economic system based on social ownership of the means of production. Socialism is an economic system in which major industries are owned by workers rather than private businesses. It is different from capitalism, where private actors like business owners and shareholders can own the means of production. So common or public ownership of resources and means of production leads to more equal society.
Yes.
Equality.
So it promises equality.
I apologize about my voice.
You sound like you got a little phlegm cotton back there. So.
This is after church.
Whatever.
So.
Allergies have been rapid here in Kentucky.
It's been a thing.
Something's going on. It wasn't that bad like an hour ago.
Yeah,
but now,
sometimes that happens whenever you
now that we're
do a lot of
podcasting.
talking. It gets messed up. I do that often. So with socialism, let's talk about this. Based upon Dr. Google's search result, it don't sound like a bad thing.
No,
Right.
it
Doesn't sound bad.
Yeah.
They want to make it sound good.
It's very appealing.
How many businesses today are worker-owned, employee-owned businesses? Basically, everybody gets a share of the company, and they all, you're basically working. The company owns, those who work for the company own the company. There's lots of them. I think even like Walmart, maybe. I'm not sure. There's a lot of different ones that are employee owned.
Yeah, I know when we've worked in Indiana before, there's dump trucks up there that on the sides of all their trucks. It says employee owned company.
Yeah. I mean, there's all time, and that's where you get into things like unions and like the UAW and what is the welders union? All these different unions, steel workers, all these things that they claim to. And what they do is they have this little representation deal they have for like the bosses in the company. They each employee, they know that they've got somebody watching up. But that is a governmental action within a company. Okay, I'm not trying to get into all of that. What I am trying to help us understand is even these companies who are employee owned, and if it is basically everybody pitching in to create, let's say toilet paper factory. Me, Jed, and Billy open up a toilet paper factory. We all three pitch in our money to make this factory work. Okay. And it is for the better good of humanity. We're trying to create this great product, triple ply, reinforced. Okay. It's going to be good stuff.
Did you say triple ply?
Triple ply.
Wow.
It's going to be fluffy.
We'll have to fork out some more money for that.
It's going to clog up a lot of septic tanks.
Yeah, that's our goal. Our goal is there. But it is
We also hang on just 1 second.
Okay, we're going there.
We also own a declogging service.
Yeah.
Okay, now go ahead.
Okay. So it's kind of hard for us to wrap our brain around this living in a capitalist society. But in a socialism form of economy, I'm building my toilet paper business because of the need for toilet paper in our community. But I don't own this business.
Right.
I am owned basically by this business.
Yeah.
And I'm only doing this because the government says, or the collective of the people say, we need toilet paper. And you're the one that's going to make it for us. So there's no incentive, and here comes the rain. There's no incentive to be the best toilet paper because we're just creating the toilet paper because that's our job.
Yeah.
We're
We might
producing
need to open an umbrella company.
If it starts
And
raining,
we might get more views if we're just a rain sounds company on YouTube.
Yeah.
if you go to sleep, whatever. But okay, based upon Dr. Google, let's read that again. What did he say?
All right, I'll read it again.
Yeah.
So, an economic system based on social ownership of the means of production. Socialism is an economic system in which major industries are owned by workers rather than by private businesses.
Right.
It is different from capitalism, where private actors like business owners and shareholders can own the means of production. So, and then it says common or public ownership of resources and means of production leads to more equal society. But so what they're really wanting to do is create an equal level of
Right.
who has what money, and like the union. The unions are different because they have certain levels. Even though like somebody that's been in there for a long time, they cannot work but still receive a higher compensation. But
That's still socialism, though.
yeah.
That's still social. At its core, that is still socialism. Back to our little analogy of our toilet paper company. Me, you, and Jed are building this toilet paper company. Okay, somewhere along the lines, whatever department we are put over top of, because we're doing this, whether you're in the paper rolls that it goes on,
Yeah.
or whatever it is, at some point, one of us somehow we make a little more money. Okay. One person makes more profit than the other. Well, then that's not fair. So then somebody needs to fix this.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you got, like at restaurants, waiters and waitresses, when they split the tips.
That is stupid. That is socialism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm being waited on by somebody, and they bring me a double cheeseburger and it was excellent,
Yeah.
and they didn't grumble and complain while they smiled the whole time, and I want to give them a nice tip, I should be able to know that they're getting that tip.
Right. They're going to get the money. It's going in their pocket, not it's going into the other waitress in the other section.
See, we have a problem with this. We are so stuck in this because it's happened so quickly, you didn't even know it.
It's no different than the parable of the vineyard. The ones that worked the full day, they moaned and groaned because they didn't get more of a wage than the other people.
Yeah. See, even people who don't really understand economics, when they read that scripture, they think, okay, everybody gets paid the same thing. Not really. Because if you get paid to work for 2 hours, the same it took somebody else working 12 hours,
Right.
you're making a lot more money than the people that was working all day.
Right.
Be it, somebody worked, okay, it took them 12 hours to make such and such.
Which we know that parable is about the kingdom of heaven, so we can't compare that to paycheck.
We can take that and make that a paycheck thing. If I need my vineyard, if I need my harvest brought in time, I will pay as a business owner. I will pay whatever I want to pay to whoever I want to pay it to get my job done.
Right.
Merit, not based upon I'm just paying everybody to do something so that they say they have a job and they bring home a paycheck, which is what America has become. See, we are so far removed that it slipped in. Just like the tip jar.
Yeah.
I should be getting 100% of the tips that were for my merit.
Right.
Right.
You should be getting what you're worth. Now, if you're not worth it, you shouldn't be getting it.
Right.
If you don't work, you don't eat. That's what the Bible says. That's not spiritual. That's absolute. That you can't spiritualize it. That is the truth. Here in Proverbs 21:17, he that loveth pleasure shall be poor. You can't go on vacation every single day and then complain that you don't have money.
Right.
So that's the same way it is. Yeah, look here.
Read it again.
He that loveth pleasure shall be a poor man. He that loveth wine and oil shall not be rich. Constantly, you can't go to Red Lobster every night and complain about no money.
Right.
Unless you have worked your behind off.
Right.
And you have actually done something with your life, and you got the money to go spend there. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. But if you are we complain like the people in the vineyard, and we're like, oh, they've been working for 2 hours, and I've been here all day. I should be making more money than them.
Right.
But the real truth of it is, if those people who've been there all day long were able to do the whole job, they wouldn't have needed somebody else to come. What socialism does is it takes the money that everybody is making, and it doesn't matter. Okay, you need to. This is a phrase that gets thrown around a lot. I think everybody should pay their fair share. Okay, and what that means is, if somebody's paying taxes on something, we pay taxes on everything: gas, postage stamps.
Yeah.
We pay taxes on the toys you buy your kids.
Yeah.
Every single thing has taxes. The property you own, your car. Name something, we pay taxes on it. Everybody's paying their fair share. Your income tax. You make $30,000 a year. You're probably broke right now. But you make that much, okay? You pay a percentage out of that for taxes.
Right.
Somebody makes $400,000 a year. You are supposed to pay a percentage of that in taxes. But here is what the socialism idea says. Somebody makes $400,000 a year. They need to be paying a higher percentage of their money. Let's call it 27%. As opposed to a much lower percentage for someone who makes much less.
Right.
There is that doesn't even incentivize somebody doing well. If you make a bunch of money, you ain't going to keep it. The government's going to take it from you because somebody thinks that should be going to someone else.
Right.
You have money, Jed, in our toilet paper business. You made more money in our toilet paper business. We think that's unfair. So we're going to make you pay higher taxes
to even it out.
Right. We're going to make sure that you pay your fair share. And all this is a bunch of spoiled brat idea of economics.
Right.
And it's unrighteous. That's all I'm saying about it.
Yeah.
It's unrighteous. So right now, in our culture, we have what is known as inflation going on. Okay? Inflation on gas, oil, groceries, everything.
Yeah, everything.
Iced coffee.
Yeah.
Really drinking iced coffee.
Unless you got the app and you can get a deal on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So but there's something on everything. Whatever you like. Candy bar, energy drinks, whatever. It's all went straight through the roof.
Yeah.
Well, they're talking about price controlling. And what that's going to do is that's going to cause whoever that is, the food companies are going to lose a bunch of money, and they're going to lose the ability to produce food.
Right.
Because they're taking them out of what is known as a free market system, and they're going to put them in a socialism, and they're causing them to obey the government. So then it's just going to be everybody is working for the government.
Yep.
Everybody will be working for the collective as opposed to working for themselves. And that is all that will happen. And it's
kind of like and correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but on that song, I owe my soul to the company store.
Yeah.
Like,
that is socialism.
Right, yeah.
That's a perfect little picture of socialism. Yeah. You worked, if you don't know what he's talking about, 16 tons or whatever it was, Tennessee Ernie Ford. In the early days of our country, there was coal mines, where there was in West Virginia, Eastern Kentucky, Pennsylvania, and coal companies, mining companies, would build whole small housing.
Big communities.
Yeah.
Everything you'd get in a standard town today.
For their employees. Right. Yeah.
Right.
And because of the way they distributed their wages, they weren't given just like straight money.
Right.
They were given credits. And it was company money.
Right.
That they could only spend at one company store to buy whatever the company had.
And they could set them prices at whatever they wanted to.
Exactly. And so they were beholden to the company, and they would end up being in debt to the company, and they really had no other way of making it. And it was that's socialism. Because it's, okay, well, keep telling, well, you got part of this. You're making part of this. You own part of this. Don't you want to do good? And you end up nobody's doing any good. And it's not that
You get the mentality, why should I work harder if it's not going to get me any further in life?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you didn't even have
It's like, if
failure
I'm
to
just,
thrive. Yeah.
right, yeah, if I'm just going to work my tail off all day just to make someone else, make them prosper.
Yeah, I mean, and then you got where this person is making more money than this person, so they say, okay, this person can, yet this person's not doing the work, so you got both
Right.
people making that money, and then you think about the whole company then starts making that money, and they can't sell enough to give enough, and it'll shut it down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's no balance.
Well, let me say it like this. Okay, maybe our toilet paper company's a little not the great, but let me say it like this. Okay. When you work a job for somebody, they're not getting rich off of you.
Right.
You are working for them to produce something that will make them money, but it's going to make you money too, because if they make money, you make money.
Right.
This whole idea that people owe people things just because it's been this way, especially in the United States, especially within, I'm going to say something crazy, within church people, it has been a hard place to do well. Because if somebody does well, because we don't exactly have a very high approval of someone doing well. Well, they got a lot of money, and then people talks about, well, if I had that money, and it just produces this whole entitlement idea. Like if you go to a church, like, okay, nobody should be disclosing what they put in the offering plate, right? That should not be done.
Right.
But if you go to a church and most people, they don't put anything in. You don't see, for instance, the church being taken care of or whatever. If you go to some of these churches and they're falling apart and they don't have anything, and everybody works a job, everybody has an income, everybody does something for a living, nobody's getting ahead. Everybody complains about money. The number one place in the world to complain about money has seemed to be church, is what I'm saying. There's it doesn't do well. You do not do well to discuss finances in church because people are almost afraid of the subject of money. Because you can't talk about the borrower is slave to the lender. You can't talk about, it's probably not a good idea to be in debt because probably, how many churches today are in millions of dollars of debt?
Yeah.
It's because it's not really been talked well of. What is the number one? You go on YouTube today. Okay, go on YouTube today. The number one, apostate preachers or whatever they're talking about that are like apostate. That everybody's like, oh, these are false preachers, false pastors, false prophets. It's what they call, quote unquote, prosperity preachers. All right. While I agree it is not good for you to give all your money to a preacher on television, should we be against the subject of people doing well for themselves? I don't think so. In fact, I find it in the scripture that it's actually a good thing, that we are supposed to be blessed to be a blessing. And was it 1 John? He said, I would, brother, everything that you would prosper and be in health. And the thing that we do not want is we don't want prosperity because it doesn't make a better story.
Yeah.
If I want to be wealthy so we can be generous to people. I want to be wealthy so we can help people. But people, they want to stay in the struggle. And government plays on that struggle. And they get taken advantage of by, say, well, this is the Christian thing to do. We should take care of the poor. Yeah. Yes. We should help those who are homeless. Yes. That should be in the hands of God's people. And it should be of voluntary necessity.
Right.
if I feel it from the goodness of my heart, I want to do these things. I should not be mandated to put my money in a place because it's better. Billy had made an extra $1,000 this year. Because I see somebody that needs help, I'm going to take it from him. And I'm going to give that to these people because, I don't have that, but it's somewhere, so we just grab it from somewhere else. Socialism works in that manner. Now, it's a collective idea. It is right in between. Socialism is right in between the cycle, and the very next shift is into communism. And that is where the community, the government, owns everything. So where you don't own your own business. You're not producing something for the government, or you're not producing something for the people. You are working for the government 100%, and you only get to buy what the government says you can buy. And in fact, you don't need even money because, the government provides all that.
Yeah.
And government is God.
Yeah. Basically, they tell you what to do, when to do it, how to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, they send you to college, tell you you're going to be this specific thing. They send you a church that's government owned church, so they tell you what you can preach. So
here's what bothers me: is I can't even talk about this subject because there is so much that has already been warped in our mind of how things work. The tip jar is an excellent example of that. That just mandated tips even. Have you seen mandated gratuity?
Yeah. Let's not get started on that.
Where it used to be 15%, now it's like
20.
25.
It does not help these things. And then let's not even get started on welfare and government assistance.
Yeah.
And we can't even talk about these things because it'll probably...
The people that really need all that, they cannot get it.
They can't.
It's impossible for them to get it. But then you get the ones that are able-bodied, well people that can go out and actually work for a living and do something. They're the ones just bringing in a check.
Yeah.
And everybody that works is paying for that.
Exactly, yeah. Yep.
Like, your taxes are paying for that. And you have no say-so in it. You have no saying.
Right.
You have nothing to say about it. For instance, do you know a lot of your tax dollars are going to fund Planned Parenthood in some states?
Yeah.
That's for abortions, transgender surgery,
Stuff that goes
manipulation.
completely against what we believe on a biblical
perspective. Yeah.
Right.
And you have no voice in it.
Right.
But that's where your money goes. And then they raise taxes because over here, and you get over here. And it's not, our kingdom's not of this world, so we don't have to worry about that. Let's just let it happen. It's just gonna get worse and worse. I ain't never gonna be rich. I ain't gonna have to worry about it.
You're never gonna be rich, Micah. That's an inside joke.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Our friend group here.
Our plan is not to be Bill Gates,
Right.
or Warren Buffett,
Right.
So that we can be richy rich and ride around in our Rolls Royce and our golden encrusted toilet.
Have a McDonald's in your mansion.
Yeah, that was supposed to be cool. Our goal is not that. Our goal is to be blessed, be blessing. But if you're working, you should be getting paid what you're worth. But you're not worth more than what you're worth. You don't deserve something just for existing.
Right.
And also,
That's called entitlement.
That's called entitlement. And it's just because prices are high. For instance, I do not punish the grocery stores because prices are high.
Right.
The grocery store owner knows prices are high.
Exactly.
You go to the root source, you figure out what things are doing, and that's what's going on right now. Now, so what is all this stuff? I didn't want to hear all these economic things. What I'm talking about is there is a agenda straight from hell that is coming, and it's encroaching in fast, trying to take over our way of life. Do you want to be in a situation where all of your food is government produced with prices set at a certain place that nobody makes any money? Do you want to buy a car that's produced by the government? You know, these countries, you look at different countries, and they've nationalized every facet of their society. That means it is the collective that owns these. It's the government produced healthcare, government produced housing. Oh, look at how government housing works.
Right.
That's a good piece of work. You know, it's not that we do not think people need things. People need assistance. People need help. People need housing. There's a homeless crisis going on right now. Do you know why that is? Because bad choices in government lead to bad consequences.
Yeah.
The church is, number one, supposed to be dealing with the charity problem we have going on. That's our job. That's pure religion undefiled before God, is to feed widows and orphans and take care of them.
Right.
And government's trying to take that job away from the church because they can do way better by going to the government than coming to the church.
Yeah.
Because we in the church, we ain't got no money. We constantly asking for money.
Right. Well, the government, they'll
You know.
do it, and I know this whole episode might get flagged and taken down.
Who knows
what we say? The government, they'll give you something, but they're going to want something in return. They're going to want you have to do, they give your children health care, you got to take them to the doctor and have this done and have that done, have this checked up, have that checked up. But the church is, we give it and then that be it. Now, and I know there's been times where you can almost get burnt out by giving to so many people. It's like, well, just come to Wednesday night service and then we'll help you out.
Yeah.
You know, not like coming every day or cleaning toilets or anything. Just come to service tonight. At the end of service, we'll help you out.
Yeah.
But then people, they don't want to do that.
Right.
It's like, no, I ain't.
No.
Not going to step
And
foot
it's
in a church.
it's not required of them. See, when it is government, you then become beholden to
Right.
them.
That's when the borrower is slave to the lender.
Exactly. You become beholden to them. And whether it's whatever it's a company, let's say, what if a television station takes a large amount of, government assistance for a certain program they've got going on? Well, then the government has the right to say whatever they want to say through that medium.
Right.
Well, what if a church, what if we are beholden to the collective of the? We take these things. That's what happens with if you look into things like the Johnson Amendment with your 501c3 status, tax-free status. They gave us tax-free status in exchange that we couldn't talk on political issues.
Right.
That is wrong.
Right. Yeah. If they're shutting your mouth on something, there's a reason for it.
Because
what's there that you're going to talk against that they don't want you to?
And that comes from back in the day, during the 1960s. Lyndon B. Johnson, who was president at the time, was dealing with a certain pastor that was speaking against him, and the things he was doing. Which, by the way, a lot of this stuff comes from his administration. But anyway, look up the Great Society and figure out what that's all about. Anyway, he wanted to shut down his pastor from speaking against him politically. And since then, we've had this idea that pastors or church leaders or Christians in general have no right to say anything. Why? Because we are beholden to the government for our tax-free status. This is wrong. We have, under the Constitution, we have our First Amendment rights, which says we can say anything we want to say.
Yeah.
We can worship how we want to worship, and we can say anything we want to say. And that's just the First Amendment. Let's not get into the Second Amendment. I'm not beholden. Oh, no man, nothing. But to love him.
Right.
And so, whether you're dealing with government or your neighbor next door, you don't owe them just because they have a need. You should, by the love that's in your heart, if you feel like you need to help that person, you should help them. If they're going through a problem, the government should not mandate you fixing their problem with your income.
Right.
which is what is going on right now.
If your neighbor is truly in need, the Holy Spirit will talk to you and tell you need to do this.
That's
go
exactly
over there,
right.
give them $100. Go over there, help them mow their lawn. Mm-hmm. God will tell you
Exactly.
what to do.
Yeah.
The government will not need to tell you.
The government is not in charge
Right.
of your heart, and I think that's where socialism tries to come in and be the moral legislator and say, this is the direction we as a country, company, or people should go, that we're going to, just because certain people have needs. And what happens is it ends up becoming completely distorted. The people who actually need help don't get it, and it end up being all these pigs over here end up eating all the slops.
Right.
And it always becomes that way. It has every country where these things have been implemented, these practices have been put in place.
Yeah.
It's wrong. But they get away with it by saying it's people. It's for the people, for the people, the people. Well, we are a people. In our country, the people have a say. We have a vote. We have a voice. But when the people become this idea that, okay, as a collective, we just pitch everything together. Nobody can do better than anybody else, and nobody can do worse than anybody else. So therefore, let's all do bad together.
Right.
I can't even brag about how I've done well, because if I do, well, then I'm going to make everybody else feel bad.
Yeah.
Or we'll just take that away from you and give it to somebody else and make it all equal distribution, which is not the way it works. It's not the way it works. If you do not work, you will not eat.
Right.
That is the Bible. And it is not a spiritual thing. It's a physical
It's a fact.
principle
Right.
that's in this book. He that loveth pleasure shall be a poor man. And that's what's going on in our country. We've spent and spent and spent on stupid stuff. And now we're asking all these other things to take care of problems. So, based upon Dr. Google, let's read Dr. Google's socialism thing again. Just so we get this in our head, okay? And I want you to just examine this with your heart and your mind.
All right. An economic system based on social ownership of the means of production. Socialism is an economic system in which major industries are owned by workers rather than by private businesses. It is different from capitalism, where private actors like business owners and shareholders can own the means of production. The idea that common or public ownership of resources and means of production leads to a more equal society.
Here's what's crazy. That is distorted. Here's what Webster says, okay? It is an egalitarian economic and political theory advocating for collective or governmental ownership. Okay? It changes the means of production so that people who do the work are the ones who make the decisions about what gets produced and how. That's one definition there. A system or society or group living in which there is no private property. Oh, so then my house doesn't belong to me. It belongs to Jed, Billy, me. Oh, because we all work at the same toilet paper plant? So then he can come move all his kids in my house. And I ain't got to say about it because I'm beholden to him because we all own each other. Oh, my goodness.
It ain't right.
It ain't right.
It ain't right
That's
at
not
all.
righteous, and that's not the way God intended it. It's also against the Constitution. So, socialism is a devilish idea, and it is one step away from communism, in which government is God, under the guise of let's all help each other in a utopia of, everybody has nothing, but we're all happy about it. This is all a lie straight from the pits of hell. And if you go into the ideas of Karl Marx and you read about Karl Marx, you'll find that he was a Christian growing up, but then he went to a secular college in which a professor began to teach him. And he actually became very Satanistic, although he said he was atheistic, but he admires Satan. Anyway, yeah. So let's do a little food for thought and talk about some things. Don't trust Google is what I'm saying. You read Google here?
Don't ever trust Google.
Do not trust Google.
Google, Wikipedia.
They're all false. I go back to old credit sources. The reason we pulled up Google was to show you it doesn't sound that bad.
No,
Right.
they make it sound good.
It doesn't sound that bad, you know. So like I was thinking, oh, we could do that. Me, Billy, and Jed, we can all build a toilet paper business together. But you know what? There's no such thing as complete equality and equity when it comes to money,
Right.
resources.
There will
Because
always be one person. That
somebody
gets
will always do
upset.
better.
It's like, well, they don't need to be making that much. I did more than them.
Yeah.
I need to be making
It
more.
never evens out.
Right.
And it'll just end up a big fight.
Yeah.
We'll hate each other.
Yeah.
And man, I wish I could say some things, and some of this I've really,
Held back.
it did not make sense. But it's because everyone y'all drinking a bunch of Kool-Aid sometimes.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of people drinking a whole mess of Kool-Aid. Grape flavored, lemon flavored, all kinds of red and blue. There's a bunch of Kool-Aid being drunk, okay? And that's because there's so much.
Wish you had your glasses today.
Yeah, I know it. The thing is, don't trust Google.
No.
No.
Do not listen to these secularists who say that socialism, we all use socialism. Devil is a liar. Don't go listen to Bernie Sanders, who's crazy. They end up, this socialism idea, though, it does not work. It doesn't work because everything cannot be equal in, like, I live in a house. I've always lived in a house with a big group of people. There's 6 of us kids, okay? Whether it is pizza, cookies, or ice cream, nobody gets their fair share.
No.
It does not work, okay? Some people
Life's
give,
not
some people
fair.
take. Some people get more. It's usually
Somebody always eats all the ice cream.
somebody always eats
Isaac
all the
Lane.
ice cream. Shout out to Isaac.
Yeah.
But this is just use your brain when it comes to these things. Do not be duped by people and just think, oh, yeah, well, I'm a worker. I should get, we should have a say in things.
Yeah.
That's under the guise. Do some research. Figure out, go look up Karl Marx. Go listen to some podcasts talking about that's a little more intelligent than us. Go listen to
That's not starting a fake toilet paper company.
go listen to my bro Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Who at what's the name of the place? What's it called? What's it called?
Why'd you have to ask?
What I have
I
that
can't look it up. My phone's the one recording.
Yeah.
Is it American First?
No, I'm thinking Turning Point USA.
There you go. Yeah.
They are a Christian organization. They will help you with your worldview, and we'll put some links possibly or something up here that'll tell us, it'll help you go straight from this video over to some of their stuff. And
We give you permission. Stop listening to us right now and
go-
click on the link wherever it is put.
go to Charlie Kirk and figure out what at Turning Point USA, and your worldview will change. Go watch some of these debates where he does with some of these college kids. He really will open your eyes, and it's because it's truth. He's all based in biblical understanding and a good biblical worldview. So, we got anything to add on socialism before we leave, other than Google's terrible answer?
Yeah, they got.
Not really socialism, but as the recording of this episode, we're at 198 subscribers.
Okay.
So
yeah,
share the podcast, share it to your friends, family.
let's do a little more.
Everyone.
Let's
Yeah.
do more. Let's do better. Let's do better. With that being said, we love y'all, and we'll see you further down the road.
Thanks for tuning in. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. If you like to watch us, you can find us on The Road Home on YouTube. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. You can check us out on Instagram at the roadhome_podcast. If you'd like to email us, you can email us at the roadhomepodcast@yahoo.com. Thank you.